come on in. We got stuff to talk about. I hope all of you are watching the news. So, a few hours ago I thought to myself, surely I can take a few hours off from watching the news, because it's not like something's going to happen every few hours that's so amazing you want to drop everything and just talk about it. Surely I can just go to the gym and have a leisurely workout. Nothing's going to happen for 2 hours. Oh my God. So most of you have seen by now the news, which is there's a new leak that says that President Trump said to the Russians when he was meeting with them that he fired that, quote, nut job Comey, and that should take some pressure off him or something. Now, in the usual way these things go, CNN actually put the chyron of that problem, practically blocking President Trump getting on Air Force One for this historic Middle East trip. It's like we're going to put this chyron right over your goddamn airplane. We're not even going to see you looking presidential. We're just going to move this up a little bit. Let's make that chyron a little bit bigger, because he's flying off to do what could potentially be history-changing improvements in the Middle East. You never know, right? Probably not, but you never know. Yeah, at this moment, it looks like he could be going off to do something positive. So the leakers knew that they had to, kneecap his trip to the Middle East, but they didn't think this one through. So the way they'd like to think this news cycle is going to go is that everybody's going to say, my God, he's calling people names and insulting Americans to the Russians, and he's obstructing justice and all that. But you know what you're going to remember in a month? Yeah, all these scandals all kind of run together. I'll tell you what you're going to remember in a month. Just one thing. You're going to remember Comey's new forever name, nut job. So they took the guy that they're trying to frame as kind of being, the good guy that got fired, and they have, through their leak, permanently labeled him a nut job. And because this will be repeated endlessly, just like Crooked Hillary and Lion Ted, even though Trump, I'm sure he didn't intend this to get out as a new nickname, the pattern is set in our minds. Because when the president says something like, sleepy-eyed Todd or crying fake tears humor, as soon as he says these things, we just immediately think, well, there's his new forever name. It'll never be different. So I had some of my favorite tweets that are going viral at the moment just over this nut job thing. The first part is it's just hilariously bad coup making, because the legal part probably won't bother him at all, like the other stuff hasn't. But Comey just got a new nickname that makes him look less credible at exactly the time that would be good for the president. So that's what you're going to remember in a month. My other tweet that I was quite proud of is that Comey better watch out, or President Trump will fire him from his nut job too. Now, I taught some of you about the formula for writing humor, so you can see the formula in that one. That the reason it's funny is that it follows a formula. So the formula, I won't go over the whole formula, but there's 3 of 6 dimensions you want to work into your joke, or it's not a joke. I'm sorry, at least 2 of the 6. If you get more than 2, such as this one had, it's even funnier. So in this case, it's something familiar because it's right in the news and we're all talking about it. So it's automatically has 1 dimension because we're all thinking about it. All right, so it's relevant. The second part it has is mean, because it's somebody getting fired twice. All right, so that's just mean. But it's also clever because it's a callback to the other story that he got fired, and because Trump is someone who is famous for firing somebody, he would not only fire him from his regular job, but he's such a good firer that he would fire him from his nut job. It's not even a real thing. Like, that's how good he is at firing. He'll fire you from an imaginary job. He'll fire you from your nickname. He'll fire your ass so hard, he'll fire you right out of your nickname. So this situation, this setup, had everything going for it. Everybody was thinking about it. Nut job is just funny by itself. It was easy to tie it to Trump's prior firings, so the clever part was easy. And it's mean, because somebody's getting fired twice. So it's got 3 out of 6 of the humor dimensions. So if anybody's ever impressed when people write jokes and you think, God, how can you think of those jokes? It's way more formula than you think. Way more formula. So watch the trending for nut job, and watch how it becomes his new nickname. Like, there's no way this ever leaves him. He will be nut job forever now. I mean, only on the right. He's not on the left. He'll still be that poor guy who got fired. Yeah, Trump called Comey a nut job. It was leaked. He didn't say it in public. Yeah, Rush called it a coup. Yeah, it's funny. I thought that when people were calling it a coup, what you're seeing now, mostly through the leaks, I thought that was hyperbole in politics, and it's maybe by analogy it's sort of coup-like, or it reminds me of a coup, or if it was a slippery slope, which never really is the case, it could slide into a coup. I thought all of those things. I thought it was just sort of over-interpreting what was happening. But I'm reasonably certain at this point this is an active coup, and that it's actually happening. You're actually living through a coup. Now it's sort of a slow motion coup that is being fought on the persuasion battlefield. Now think about this. For the most part, these leaks are about changing how we think about him. Now, if they get one that he's somehow broken a law, that would be the holy grail. That would be the decapitation shot. But they don't need a decapitation shot. They just need to destroy him, right, with the leaks. And that would be good enough to guarantee that the next president is, one of their people, one of the fighting factions' peoples. Because there's more than one faction in this coup, by the way, which is what makes it fun. So now think about this. This is largely a persuasion coup. And it's being fought against the best persuader of your lifetime. Probably. I mean, maybe Steve Jobs. But at least in the realm of politics, the best persuader of your lifetime. And he's in the middle of a persuasion coup, in which the other side is quite clearly and unambiguously using persuasion in its various forms through leaks and whatnot, and their control of the media to remove the president. Now, one of the things that the president has on his side is that it turns out he's not the only influential person sort of on his side. So, and you see an example like this nut job thing. It might have been it was a calculated, sort of a calculated move. They probably figured, well, we'll let this nut job thing out. That doesn't matter too much because we'll maybe show that he was trying to obstruct justice. But that's not going to hold, because the independent counselor is going to look at it and say, it's just too vague. The way he said it just could be the way he talks, because he talks that way all the time. Here's the ultimate defense. And when I say this, you're going to know it's true, right? Imagine, in some hypothetical world where President Trump was taken to court or the court of public opinion, or some kind of something like that, and they're trying to prove that because he said in this meeting that Comey was a nut job and that removing him would basically take some pressure off, that what he really meant was that he was trying to influence the investigation, which, by the way, turns out to be illegal. I don't even think it's illegal to do that if you did it, because it wasn't actually part of the legal system yet. It was still an investigation form, and so imagine trying to convict President Trump based on something he said in a meeting once, and then his defense says, "Let me show you PolitiFact website, where I'll show you 7 pages of just one item, few items per line of things that the fact checkers have said President Trump said and didn't mean, or were just not true." Now, imagine that. Now, who would convict President Trump for something he said that got leaked in the context that every one of his enemies and even all of his friends would acknowledge that there are 7 pages of PolitiFact of things he said that just weren't true, but he said it for effect? Now, the effect in this case was he got elected president. And some of those things, of course, were not brilliant things he said, but the cumulative effect was that he got elected president. Now imagine that the context he's talking to the Russians, who he's trying to persuade. And he may have said something that just isn't true, because he has this long history of saying what works best in persuasion, even if the fact-checking doesn't exactly, conform to what he said. So imagine anybody trying to get any kind of a legal decision in the context where the person is being accused of saying something true, and then you have to prove it was the one time he actually meant it. How the hell do you win that case? Yeah, and by the way, do you want to know a secret of persuasion? It's in my book. Here's a good one. This is one you've never heard before, and this would also give you some context for the leaked quote about nut job and takes the pressure off me, right? There's a rule of persuasion that when you tell somebody a secret, they become your friend automatically. In other words, and by the way, if you've never heard this before, this is pretty important. This is like a really good one. This is one you can use in your actual life. When you share a minor secret with someone, something that can't get you killed, but it's just edgy enough that it does sound like a legitimate secret that you wouldn't want to get out. It would just be a little bit embarrassing. It wouldn't kill you, but it'd be a little bit embarrassing. When you share that kind of a secret, people bond to you, and they feel like you're on their side and they're friends. It's an irrational automatic connection which has been studied, right? It's a well-known phenomenon in persuasion. Now, if you look at what Trump is alleged to have said by the leak, he was essentially revealing a secret to the Russians. He was saying Comey is a nut job, which is the first secret, which is his opinion of Comey. He's never really said that per se. So that was like a secret that was a little bit naughty, which is just right. You want something that if it got out wouldn't kill you, just a little bit, enough of a secret quality to it. So you call your own head of the FBI that you just recently fired a nut job, that qualifies. That's like a little secret for the Russians. Then here's another secret. He says, I did it to take the pressure off. Now what he's doing is sounding like a strong man, like a decisive leader who frickin' fired his own head of the FBI just because he's a nut job and took the pressure off, whatever that means. In the context of talking to the Russians, he's pacing them. He's talking the way they would talk. All right, they have more of a strong leader. Fire these people who are problems. Get rid of the people who are problems. And Trump said, the democracy version of that. He paced them. Yeah, I'm a strong leader. I just got rid of my head of FBI nut job. So now he's giving you sort of a second secret that he got rid of him for to take some pressure off. Now who knows what that meant? But here's the thing: it didn't really matter what it meant in terms of persuasion, because the persuasion of it is going to work if the Russians perceive that he told them a secret, a small one, the kind that if it leaked, it wouldn't really hurt him. And sure enough, it's leaking right now. And, CNN and his enemies want it desperately to hurt him, but all it really did was, a month from now, all you'll remember is nut job, right? So it probably isn't going to be legally important because it's so vague. And in the context of negotiations, it actually is a well-known persuasion, thing to do, to reveal small secrets. And by the way, I've done this, and it really works. All right. So if you see the best persuader in the world revealing small secrets to people he most wants to persuade, and then that leaks, let me tell you what leaked. What leaked is you saw the best persuader of our lifetime doing what he does. Do you think those Russians left that meeting liking him less? Fuck no. Fuck no. What matters more to defeating ISIS, putting pressure on North Korea, being safe in the world? Making those Russians kind of have a good feeling about Trump. Did he do that? He fucking did that. Right. Nobody's questioning that. Ask anybody who has a little bit of persuasion skill, a cognitive scientist. Ask Robert Cialdini. Right? Ask Robert Cialdini, the Godzilla of persuasion, as I call him, whether revealing those small secrets in the meeting with the Russian put us ahead as a country. And the answer is yes, because that's really good technique. Now, when you see it in a context and you don't know that is, if you don't know that that's technique, it looks like he's revealing secrets. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. All right. Now, how many of you listening to this knew that what he did, revealing these small little secrets, is technique, and it's well documented technique? I mean, it's not something I just made up. How many of you knew that? All right, so somebody said yes. All right, so there are enough people saying yes to validate I just didn't make up a bunch of bullshit, right? It's actually true. Would it be considered reciprocity? You could make an argument that it's part of that reciprocity principle that does make people like you. Yeah, I think you could make that argument, but I think it's more than that. I think it's reciprocity plus. All right. Yeah, and actually the secret of revealing the secret, but a small one, not one that will get you crushed if it gets revealed, because people tell your secrets all the time. You don't trust some new stranger just because you want them to be your friend. Try this in your personal relations if you have someone you would like to make more your friend. And you're going to see it works like frickin' magic, and it works quickly. It really does. It's one of the most powerful forms of persuasion. And now just think about it. Now, there's 1,000 people watching this, so most of you just heard my explanation. Now that you've heard me reframe this, that one of the smartest things that a master persuader could do is to reveal some small secrets, insult his FBI guy, show that he's a strong leader, pace them, give them a small secret because that bonds them to him, makes them like him better. That's good technique. Now let's talk about the leakers. Now the leakers are one of two things. They're either simply enemies of the state, because what they're doing is illegal, I think. So if they're enemies of the state, they're traitors. Or they legitimately think they're doing something patriotic because they think that Trump is dangerous and a bad leader. Because you can't rule that out. They might be legitimately thinking they're saving the world. In that case, they're simply, I hate to use the word ignorant, but they're underinformed about how persuasion works. Because if you put me in that meeting and I heard him say those same things, I would walk away with my jaw dropped and say, fuck, that was good. Pitch perfect persuasion. I'll bet if you were in that room, you would have seen something frickin' amazing. All right, and then what do the leakers turn that into? He is a frickin' idiot who can't keep a secret. That's what they turned that into, or they just don't understand it. It's possible. Now I know that I'm already accused of bending myself into pretzels to defend the president, right? But I try to only do it when I can give my reasons in a way that you can verify. So I've given you, really essentially three rules of persuasion that are easy to verify, well documented, tested by science, etc. That President Trump, we know, used in these meetings because the leaks told us, right? If we weren't there, we wouldn't have known. But we saw him use three of the most powerful forms of persuasion in a meeting where we needed him to be the master persuader, right? You could check it for yourself. I realize people are going to say, hey, you're really, bending over backwards to make this sound like a good thing, and clearly he's just a loose cannon who says whatever the hell he wants. Could be. Let me say as clearly as possible, I wasn't in the room, so maybe he said a whole bunch of other things that we don't know about. They were just so crazy that if I heard it all in context, I'd say, oh my God, he's just a loose cannon. Maybe. How could I rule that out? I wasn't in the room. But given what we do know, based on the leaks, we've seen him use the revealing a small secret trick, hugely powerful persuasion. We've seen him pacing, acting like a strong man in front of these other strong men leaders who would no doubt like that. He did put the nickname Nut Job on him, and some of you are going to think he did that because he knew it would get leaked. I can't take it that far, but I also don't rule it out, right? But I doubt it. I think that was just in the moment he was saying that. And then, as somebody pointed out here, there was also the reciprocity, because when you share something, that also has a reciprocity element to it. In other words, it would irrationally and automatically predispose the Russians to sharing something that maybe was a little more than they were going to share. That's how persuasion works. Now, I know you're going to say, no, those Russians are smart professionals. They're just going to take what they can get and give us nothing. That's definitely what they intend to do. So I'm not saying that on some rational way they're going to say, oh, he told me a secret, I guess I can tell him a secret. They're definitely not doing that. All right? Because they're definitely, on the conscious level, they're saying, hey, he told me a secret. I'm not going to freaking give him anything. I win. Yay. Consciously, that's what they're thinking. Subconsciously, he's already primed them with the reflex of reciprocity. So they would talk themselves into thinking that what they tell him later was for a reason. So now he's primed them for reciprocity, and now when they reciprocate, since they don't want to feel like they reciprocated, because it would feel like, we got manipulated, we got persuaded, they will come up with some cognitive dissonance reason where they'll say, we have to tell you this for security of some kind. That's how the world looks in my 3D filter. Oh, I'm not driving right now. I'm in the parking lot of my club. My gym, I guess I should call it. Alright, I gotta go. This is like best day ever. This whole nut job thing could not have entertained me more. And if you missed my joke that I tweeted already, I will say it again because I'm so proud of it. And the joke is this. This is what I tweeted. I hope Comey I hope Comey doesn't make any more trouble for President Trump, or he will fire him from his nut job too. Alright, I'm going to leave you on that, and have a great day. The news is always interesting. Bye.